I'm so happy that Mary's Meal exists. I'm really happy because knowing Blessed Mary, staying with her so many years, I learned how mother she is, how much she loves us, how much she is suffering because of us. And I'm so happy, and I am sure that she's smiling when she looking Mary's Meal, because they helping for those who are really need.
I think Mary's Meals is of huge importance to the world today, and the simplicity of Mary's Meals is what makes it so beautiful.
That simple thing of providing one meal every day in a place of education for the hungry child, so that you meet the immediate need of that child for food, but at the same time you tackle the underlying cause of poverty by enabling them to come into the classroom where they can get that education that can set them free.
What we all need as human beings today is to see love in action, and I think everybody of goodwill in this world has a heart that responds to that. And I think the beauty of Mary's Meals is that it touches everybody's heart, both the person who receives what Mary's Meals can give and the people who get involved in the giving.
I think it's such an amazing source of hope, because it's so easy to feel overwhelmed by the poverty that we see in our world, the hunger that we see so many suffering from. But Mary's Meals gives all of us a means of responding.
After the earthquake, I didn't know if the school was okay. Everybody wanted to have food and water, but they couldn't. I heard about Mary's Meals again, and I said, oh, Mary's Meals keeps standing. Mary's Meals still existing.
I think with Mary's Meals, it's more about service work, being of service. It's a partnership between Mary's Meals and the community. Mary's Meals will provide the food, but the community has to start the garden, we build the kitchen, they provide the volunteers. So the mothers come in and they cook the food, and and what happens is it really energizes and motivates the community to start working together and to appreciate that partnership.
We've noticed a very great significant change in the lives of our people. We've noticed there has been a reduction in the drop-off rate of our kids.
Before leaving your house for coming to school, you're thinking about, wow, am I going to get food in the school? That will refrain you to learn better, to listen to the teacher, because you're thinking about having food. We go to school and we still having foods from Mary's Meals. That's a very, very good grace from the God and from the persons who was thinking about us after the earthquake for food and water.
This is way more than a feeding and education program. This impacts people in such a massive way. A lot of them, they didn't eat at all in a day before they came to school. Now they're motivated to come to school. They're motivated to be part of that community. They eat, they can focus. They don't need to run away and scavenge at lunch or they're falling asleep in class, and now when you speak to them, they're saying, I want to be a doctor, a lawyer. Education suddenly becomes like a possibility.
I just want to thank Mary, the mother of Jesus, who brought up a child in poverty, who knew what it was to be exiled, to thank her for her inspiration and love. It is an amazing thing to think that today well over 1 million children are eating Mary's Meals every day.
I think what Magnus has achieved here is he's not walked an easy path. It's involved a lot of surrendering a huge amount of faith, which is really how he operates. And he's just relied on so much hard work and determination, but then leaving the rest up to faith. And through that faith, you see what is opened up in front of him, which I think when you come here, you realize it's quite hard to fathom that just how quickly this has grown and to what extent.
Maybe
Yeah.
this is all the works of Blessed Mary. She invite you here like teenagers,
Yes.
that she learned you what is important in the life, that she put in your heart these things. And after with prayer you understand that you want Mary's meal.
Yeah, yeah. You must have seen so many amazing things happen here
Yes,
all
every
these
day.
years.
Every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah,
People telling me things what they never think that they can be.
yes,
And they happening here in Medjugorje.
yes, yeah.
Because she walking here.
Ljubav i radost. Biti aktivni. To su sve neke riječi koje me asociraju odmah na naredne obroke. Živjeti evanđelje. To isto. Živjeti evanđelje. Konkretno. To su Marijine obroci za mene.
I grew up here at Craig Lodge. It was our family home, and in the early 80s, as a teenager, I went with my brothers and sisters to Medjugorje, and it really changed our lives in lots of different ways.
I remember just opening our family newspaper, which was at that time the Glasgow Herald, and my eye just fell on this little snippet of news which said that there were reports that the Virgin Mary was appearing to 6 children in Yugoslavia, as it was then. I remember really clearly just a huge excitement, and then very quickly just a really strong desire to find out more and to go there too. I remember that it was a great adventure, but always there was this sense of, I think, discovering something, and when we got there, it just, I think, confirmed all those kind of hopes and dreams that, yes, it was absolutely true, that in our day, at this time, Our Lady was appearing to us.
They came back different people. They came back really imbued, which we recognize now as that wonderful spirit of prayer that emanates from Medjugorje. And we were actually bowled over by our children actually telling us, you know, Mum and Dad, you ought to be praying more. And we say, yes, yes, yes. And then they say, yes, and you ought to be fasting. We sort of come and give it a break, you know. But it was really incredible. And it really impinged on us that this conversion was so profound and so strong in such a short time.
So we went out a couple of months later as a small group. None of us really saw any incredible phenomena of any kind, but it was the grace of knowing that our Blessed Mother was with us, and the grace of knowing that our whole life in some very subtle way was going to change. We knew from that very first visit that there was going to be a fundamental change in our life, and all that we had to do was to trust our Blessed Mother and to do God's will on a day-to-day basis, and it would unfold for us what exactly she had planned. We got the conviction that Our Lady was asking us to change our lives totally and to dedicate our lives to young people. And so it was a couple of years after we'd been to Medjugorje that we finally opened Craig Lodge as a house of prayer.
And that was a wonderful thing, a huge gift for us. All these amazing people started to come into our home. And at times a little bit uncomfortable as well. What had been our cosy family home, suddenly all these people were coming in and out.
You know, some people say to us, oh, you made such a sacrifice doing what you've done, you know, letting your house become a house of prayer. I personally never felt any real concern that it was going to be difficult. God was very kind. I think he probably blanked my mind.
It's the story of a conversion of a family. So Magnus grew up in this very generous way of life that Our Lady gives, like the people here. They open their houses and you have children live with pilgrims. They grow up with pilgrims, and he did the same. Because the house of prayer in Scotland is like a mini Medjugorje. People come and the family hosts them, and they're very generous. They really give a lot of themselves, of time and of heart and everything.
But it really, more than anything, it was a blessing, and really probably learned so much watching Mum and Dad open their homes and their hearts, I suppose, their lives to invite people in because they wanted to help people, especially young people. I probably didn't realise it then, but I suppose I learned a lot through that witness that Mum and Dad gave. And then, the years went by and the war began in Bosnia, and that was a horrible thing for all of us, something we never could have imagined when we were going to Medjugorje in those early days to this beautiful, peaceful place.
I think there was a particular sorrow in our hearts because it was a place that that meant so much to us. It was where Medjugorje was. I think we began to realise the enormity, perhaps, of Our Lady's plan here.
Our Lady, when she comes to Medjugorje, she calls herself Our Lady Queen of Peace. And it seemed ironical when we were watching these ghastly pictures that Our Lady, in a way, had been preparing us for this and begging us to pray for peace in our hearts and in the world. And here we were in the midst of this very cruel war. So the response that we had was, what can we do? What can we do to help? And we felt very much personally involved with it.
And one particular evening, my brother Fergus and I, we watched this news bulletin, and it was a report about how refugees were suffering in a place very close to Medjugorje. And I suppose for that reason we felt particularly moved, and we began talking about the idea of trying to do something small to help. And that led to all of us launching just a very little appeal, asking people for basic things, for food, for clothing. And all this stuff started to come in here, and I asked my dad if we could borrow his shed to store these gifts that were coming in, and somebody gave us an old Land Rover, and we loaded that up and we drove the Land Rover to a refugee camp near Medjugorje.
And that was the beginning of an incredible saga, but we, as usual, didn't realise that it was the beginning of a huge, long story of mercy.
I suppose I came home after that week thinking that I'd done my good deed and that it would be back to work as normal. But God had a very different plan, because when I came back home here, I found this mountain of food and clothing piled up here and continuing to pour in. So at that point I prayed about it and I thought about it, and I decided to give up my job, and I sold my house at that time, and somebody gave me a truck, and I just simply began driving back and forth to Bosnia. Then over the years our work began to evolve. We began to get involved in building homes for abandoned children in Romania, health clinics for people in Liberia during their terrible civil war. Lots of different things, but no real theme or focus to our work.
The horror of the war has brought life in other areas, you see, so it's all very mysterious.
And then in 2002 we were beginning to read reports about this terrible famine that was afflicting Malawi, and it moved us very much, and we were very anxious to be able to respond in some way. But we didn't have any contact that we knew of within Malawi, and the way we'd been working up until that point was always through somebody we knew, but Malawi we hadn't had any previous connection with. And then we were talking about it one day in the office, and we suddenly remembered all those years ago how this lady, Gay Russell, had been in touch after our first trip to Medjugorje asking for more information.
After the children came back from that first pilgrimage to Medjugorje, Ruth decided to write this article. She was back from university at the time, and she wrote the article, and then at the bottom of the article she just said, and anybody wanting any more information, write, and then gave our address. And to our amazement and horror in some ways, I think we had over 700 to 800 letters came within 3 or 4 weeks from all over the world, people desperate to know what was happening and the message, what was she saying. And one of the people that kept writing to us was this lady from Malawi, which turned out her name was Gay Russell.
She explained that she was that she worked as an airline pilot, and by this time we'd got like a little basic leaflet printed up that explained about Medjugorje and its message.
For months she kept asking us for 500 of these leaflets at a time, and we had this family joke that she must be going up above the forests of Malawi and just throwing them out of her aeroplane because she was a pilot.
And then we like so many other people, she drifted out of our memory, and years must have gone by without any other contact.
And during that year of 2002, we began asking each other, who do we know in Malawi, who could we work with there? And we remembered Gay Russell.
And we kind of just wondered, aloud, was she still there? Was she still in Malawi? Was there any way, that we might be able to track her down? And it was overheard, our conversation, by another person who was staying at Craig Lodge, a man called Tony Smith, and he suddenly piped up, but I know this lady, I know Gay Russell.
An incredible thing, and he put us back in touch and said, I know Gay Russell, I'm working with her in Malawi today.
And it was in March of 2002 that, out of the blue, I get this phone call, very quiet voice, saying, Gay, I'm sure you don't remember me, my name's Magnus MacFarlane. And I could not believe it. And I said to Magnus, you have to come down here because we're building a replica of Medjugorje, the church and Christopher's, and you've got to come see it.
And we went to Malawi for the first time, and we met Gay, and it was an incredibly moving experience because she told us after she received that letter from Mum nearly 20 years previously that she'd gone to Medjugorje herself, had an experience there that had changed her life also.
And she'd started at that moment when Magnus and Ruth met her to actually try on her own to feed the starving children in her area.
And we began working with her and people that she introduced us to in Malawi.
And helped identify the first 200 young babies that were really malnutrition. They had to choose which ones really needed the food. And that really was the very beginning of Mary's Meals in Malawi. So again, it was our mother's work.
For me, Mary's Meals and Medjugorje are totally united. The whole inspiration of Mary's Meals has come from Medjugorje. But even more than that, I feel that Our Lady chose a number of us just to be the cogs that get the whole thing going together.
Even now, all these years later, I never lose a sense of surprise that this has happened. It was never our intention. It was never something we planned. And I never lose that sense of surprise and that sense of really profound gratitude to God that He's given me this opportunity to do this.
As far as I'm concerned, I think Our Lady is giving us the direction and encouraging us to walk this path of holiness, and the fruits of our lives are the fruits of Medjugorje. It's the fruits of our Blessed Mother being allowed to be with us over these years, and you see these beautiful fruits around the world from her presence.
Its source is Medjugorje, absolutely clearly, and wanting to respond to Our Lady's call to holiness there. And we didn't plan it, and God has been very gentle with us, and it's unfolded step by step, very, very gently.
And meanwhile, this incredible movement of love began to grow around the world. Lots and lots of people, again from lots of different cultures and backgrounds, and people of different faiths and different circumstances, began sharing what they had so that children might eat.
Medjugorje-Freunde sind in verschiedenen Ländern aktiv geworden. Sie wollen, wie es in einer Botschaft heißt, ausgebreitete Arme der Gospa sein. Nahrung, wo Hunger ist, und Liebe, wo Hass.
Mary's Meals, dakle, pomaže ljudima, svim ljudima cijelog svijeta, bez obzira na vjeru, bez obzira na naciju. Upravo tako je Majka Terezija svjedočila kršćanstvo, nikad ne govoreći o Isusu riječima.
When I think about Mary's meals around the world, I just think about it like a series of lots and lots of little acts of love. None of us doing anything spectacular. It's only when you put all those little things together, it's creating this incredible thing, this thing that really is changing the world.
In my neighbors, I always clean the streets and teach other kids who don't have possibility to go to school. But this is a little thing, but in the future I would like to do more, because I think that if I have possibility to study, I would have possibility to give what I study to other persons. This is what I would like to do in the future.
So I first remember meeting Jimmy just after the earthquake in Haiti. I spent a day with him then. He was in high school, just at the end of high school, and I just remember being so moved by this young man, even amidst that poverty. He grew up in the very worst part of the most dangerous slum in Haiti. Cité Soleil actually was known at one time as being the most dangerous slum in the world.
It was dangerous because there's a lot of hunger. In that place, everything that someone can become is a gangster. So I had a great chance to be a gangster too. But fortunately, I found amusements and I found education. I found food. So I am now started to have a new dream and realize that I can become something good than becoming something bad. In that place, people would make pancake out of mud and sugar and butter. I didn't have that chance to eat that mud because I found Meryl's Meals. And Meryl's Meals feeds me for almost 12 years and make big change in my life.
And then we had this opportunity to come back to the youth festival in Medjugorje. We'd kindly been given some time on the stage, and I had this idea, wouldn't it be wonderful to take Jimmy, to see if we could take him from Haiti, for him to be this living witness in front of the crowd of people who love Mary's Meals so much.
So today I am here to make you taste the food that you plant in my country. I'm a singer. I'm not very good, but we'll try to spend a good time together.
To see Jimmy on that stage with his gifts, with his amazing talent, just Jimmy alone, just his story would inspire me to go on with this work, never mind the other million children who are being fed these meals today.
C'est pas tout bagay ou qu'on fait pour n'en expliquer. C'est pas tout ça ou fait tout qui mérite pour cacher. C'est pas tout ça ou ton yon créole ou comprendre. Dans histoire pas n'en pas fait secret moi pral parler. Ba kon comment on fait pour bay sak nan mais on en plaisir. S'ils sont garçons même gens avec ni s'ils sont filles. Pas nan gon titre ou mes igren même pour m'bal plaisir. Ba doit gen zong long c'est celle j'en préserver pour lui. Li pas grand pile pour elle six branches seulement devant tout. Quand j'amoule les petits poètes yo poule, bam yo son qui coule. Les map moyen yo même en balle, yo même nan coule. Baka met men nan poche vol droite nan devant tout. Matin avant m'laver j'aime douette nan devant tout. Midi pas nan manger map, douette nan devant tout. Assoir pas nan dormir map, douette nan devant tout. Douette nan devant tout, douette jamais fatigué.
Mary's Meal for me it's one beautiful thing that you showing your faith with this. Mm-hmm. Faith is love. Yeah. And if you have faith, you have love. Yeah. And you want to make another people happy.
Ich freue mich, dass Mary's Meal heute unter uns sind. Dieses wunderbare Werk, das in Medjugorje entstanden ist und das täglich über 1 Million Kinder Nahrung gibt. Einen Applaus für Mary's Meals.
Même l'aime souvent classe dans l'école là. Nous pas quitter même l'aime dans épreuve baccalauréat. Li pas grand pile pour être 6 branches seulement devant coule. Quand j'amoule les petits points yo poule, bam yo son qui coule. Les mat moyen yo même en balle, yo même dans coule. Baka
And I hope very much today that this amazing thing that is Mary's Meals, I hope it is another sign that points people back to Jesus, that helps people understand the mercy of God, and maybe in some cases points people to Medjugorje for the first time as well, and makes them think about that too.
Ali ne vidimo. Imaćete oči, ali nećete vidjeti, kaže Isus. Imaćete uši, nećete čuti. To je to. Sve do jednog trenutka kad se probudi to nešto u nama. Dakle, evo, Bogu hvala da se u Magnusu i njegovim suradnicima to dogodilo i nadam se da će u nama svima, u mnogima, evo, nadam se na temelju iskustva njihova, da će se u mnogima drugima dogoditi to, da će se probuditi duh.
Hunger und seine Folgen zählen heute, wie wir alle wissen, noch vor HIV, Malaria und Tuberkulose zu den häufigsten Todesursachen weltweit.
Jamais fatigué, les bagues en pile pour elle, si je seulement devant tout. Quand je moule, tu prends your poule, pas mieux son qui coule. La map moyenne, yon même un balai, yon même un coule. Pas qu'à mettre maintenant, boîte pour toi, non devant coule.
I will pray for Mary's meal that you can do what Blessed Mary want from you, what God want from you, because everything what happening is God's will.
Fatigué, matin avant la veille, m'douette nan devant cool. Midi pas nan manger map, m'douette nan devant cool. Assoir pas nan dormir map, m'douette nan devant cool, m'douette nan devant cool.
And I ask you with all my heart, continue to do this, be strong, because here in Medjugorje you know that every second day of each month Blessed Mary giving us messages and she telling us to be apostles of love. Mary's meal is apostles of love.